Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I started a new series last month on my channel talking about books of a certain genre that are on my radar. These are books that I would like to get to sometime in the near future. And in April, we are focusing on classics, so you've most likely heard of these books. Let's get into it. We are going to go through the 5 most recent books that have been added to this list. The first one being The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, which has a pretty good rating of a 3.84. 387,000 people have left those ratings. My edition was published in 1993, and I added it to my collection back in February. Let's see what this book is all about. Here's the world's most famous master plan for seizing and holding power. Astounding in its candor, The Prince even today remains a disturbingly realistic and prophetic work on what it takes to be a prince, a king, a president. When in 1512 Machiavelli was removed from his post in his beloved Florence, he resolved to set down a treatise on leadership that was practical, not idealistic. The prince he envisioned would become encumbered by ordinary ethical and moral values. His prince would be man and beast, fox and lion. Today, this small 16th century masterpiece has become essential reading for every student of government and is the ultimate book on power politics. Now, I did learn a little bit of Machiavelli. Well, I first learned about him back in middle school. Then I read the book Leonardo da Vinci by Walter Isaacson last month, and Machiavelli was a character in that book. It's nonfiction, but he did get mentioned. That even makes this more exciting for me, but it is probably the book on this list that I am the most intimidated about, as it does have to do with philosophy, politics, that kind of thing. Let's look at the genres that it's most commonly tagged as over on Goodreads. Philosophy, classics, nonfiction, politics, history, political science, Italy, literature, Italian literature, and school. It seems like some people had to read this in school. Luckily, I did not, because just hearing about all that, I don't think my young brain would be able to take all that in, and I am scared of my adult brain having to take that in. The next book is my other intimidating one on this list, and that is Myths of the Norsemen. It is a part of a world mythology group on Goodreads. My copy is by Helene A. Gerber, with Christian Wolf writing the introduction. Again, it has a great star rating of a 3.91. Only 2,976 people have left ratings. There have been 243 reviews. Sorry, it doesn't say what year it was published. Scandinavians of the Viking Age answered the mysteries of life in their myths and legends. Folklorist Helene Adeline Gerber brings to life the gods and goddesses, giants and dwarves, and warriors and monsters of these tales and myths of the Norsemen. Ranging from the comic to the tragic, the myths tell of passion, love, friendship, pride, courage, and betrayal. So what it is that intimidates me, one, it is quite the hefty book, and just trying to find a right way to read it, because I feel like it's going to be an anthology. We'll see if it says on the tags. Mythology, classics, nonfiction, history, folklore, religion, reference, historical, paganism, and ebooks. I don't know if I'm going to read it as an ebook or not, but maybe that is the way to go, since that is listed on the tags. You rarely see that. You see audiobook listed quite a bit, but I've never seen ebook listed. But the reference is what kind of scares me. It's like, is this really a book that I'm supposed to sit down and read cover to cover? I don't know. I'm scared. I'm intimidated. The next book is a book that I'm actually going to be starting this week. I'll be starting this one pretty soon, and that is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Stay tuned for the weekly vlog, and all my thoughts will be there. But it has a great rating as well of a 3.90, with over 2 million people leaving those ratings. 2.8 to be exact. And 68,000 of those people have written a review, and again, I will be one of those people by the end of the week. Let's see what it is about. They are an unlikely pair. George is small and quick and dark of face. Lenny, a man of tremendous size, has the mind of a young child. Yet they have formed a family, clinging together in the face of loneliness and alienation. Laborers in California's dusty vegetable fields, they hustle work when they can, living a hand-to-mouth existence. For George and Lenny have a plan to own an acre of land and a shack they call their own. When they land jobs on a ranch in the Salinas Valley, the fulfillment of their dream seems to be within their grasp. But even George cannot guard Lenny from the provocations of a flirtatious woman, nor predict the consequences of Lenny's unswerving obedience to the things George told him. I think this is going to be a really interesting character story, seeing how these characters develop. And it is really short, so to see how they develop in that short of a time frame should be intriguing. The genres this is listed as is classics, fiction, school. So some of y'all probably had to read this in school. I did not. Historical fiction, literature, read for school, novels, high school, American, and historical. We are going over to the UK now to Mansfield Park by Jane Austen with an introduction by Amanda Claybaugh. This has another great rating of a 3.86 with over 383,000 people leaving ratings, and 18,000 of those people have written a review as well. I have read from Jane Austen, but obviously I have not read Mansfield Park, but I did like Pride and Prejudice. Beginning with its sharply satiric opening sentence, Mansfield Park deals with money and marriage and how strongly they affect each other. Shy, fragile Fanny Price is consummate poor relation. Sent to live with her wealthy Uncle Thomas, she clashes with his spoiled, selfish daughters and falls in love with his son. Their lives are further complicated by the arrival of a pair of witty, sophisticated Londoners whose flair for flirtation collides with the quiet, conservative country ways of Mansfield Park. Written a decade after her previous novel, Mansfield Park retains Austen's familiar compassion and humor, but offers a far more complex exploration of moral choices and their emotional consequences. Yeah, definitely. And with the country life and seeing Londoners involved, that reminds me of A Room with a View, which I read last week. We see that some of those similar themes. Now, I'm sure this is like 100 years before, but it's going to be interesting to compare the two. Let's see the genres. We have classics, fiction, romance, Jane Austen, all on her own. Historical fiction, literature, audiobooks, so it might be a good audiobook. Historical, 19th century, and classic literature. Well, the last one is very different compared to the rest. This is definitely more of a modern classic, and I honestly thought it would go under the horror category, but no, it is listed as a classic here on Goodreads, and that is Carrie by Stephen King, with a great rating of a 3.99. 858,000 have left a rating, and 35,000 people have left a review of this book. I actually inherited my copy from my mom, so let's see the book description. A modern classic, Carrie introduced a distinctive new voice in American fiction, Stephen King. The story of misunderstood high school girl Carrie White, her extraordinary telekinetic powers, ooh, I didn't know about that, and her violent rampage of revenge remains one of the most barrier-breaking and shocking novels of all time. Make a date with terror and live the nightmare. That is Carrie. That's what it says on the back cover. And now our genres. Now it is listed as a horror first, but when I added it into Goodreads about back in the summertime, it was listed as a classic first. So somewhere in those months in between, more people listed it as a horror than a classic. But since when I got it, it was mainly a classic, so it's in this category. But we have horror, fiction, thriller, classics, fantasy, paranormal, supernatural, audiobook, so another good audiobook candidate, adult, and horror thriller. I've never seen the two put together like that. But those are the classic books that are on my radar, books that I would like to get to sometime soon. Let me know in the comments below which one do you think I will enjoy the most, and have you guys read any of these books? Let me know. And as always, if you made it through this whole video, leave a rain emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye. If you are familiar with my videos, you're used to seeing Sherman at the end of them. Sadly, Sherman has since passed away, but I would still like to encourage you guys to help your local shelters. Sherman was at the Darlington County Humane Society in rural South Carolina. I always have their link down below in the description if you guys would like to help them, but also help your local shelters as well. You can do that by donating, sharing posts like this one, volunteering, fostering, and adopting, which it's great to do all of those things
great to help your community, great to help the animals in your community, and I cannot recommend it enough. All of my pets were rescues, they were strays or from animal shelters, and I love them so much, and I know how much love they can give, so knowing these pets at the shelter can equally give that much love, it's amazing. And y'all should totally take part and help out those local animal shelter pets, and please help them.